What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Analytically Correct. I'm Marty. This is Rob. We're here with Stretch at Public House on University. Connected with Shamrock Liquors. I didn't think that was the word I was going to fuck up, but I had to fuck one of them up. Thank you guys for joining us once again. We're doing the more structured thing. This will be like our last divisional thing. We're doing this week NFC West and AFC West, and we're going to forego the Pac-12 and the Big East and the Big 12 because we don't really think that any of these teams can produce a champion. I think we were talking about in the text, and I don't think you guys really give a shit about those. So we're here for you. If you do give a shit about them, if any of your favorite teams are in those conferences, if you want to comment in and make a case for any of those teams and you want us to talk about them, God willing, we will. But other than that, I mean, those conferences is kind of down. I mean, we're gonna stick more with NFC West, AFC West, and I think at some point we'll do our MVP predictions, our Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then next week we'll get into like what I'm excited for is the fantasy show.
Yeah,
it's
man,
like,
same.
That kind of like shows that football is here.
Yep.
You know, this is the last weekend, the last Saturday and Sunday of the year where we have no football.
That's amazing.
After this, it's football for the rest of the year.
I would say October's the best time in sports. You got football starting its full swing, baseball's in the full playoffs, and basketball's just starting up.
I don't give a good goddamn if it's Hawaii versus UCF. I will watch the entire game, and I will bet live on the quarters. I'm super excited to lose a ton of money. I actually lost my first football bet on a preseason. Yes, I'm that guy.
You bet on preseason football?
I have an issue. I have problems.
That is an issue. Like,
yeah. I mean, I'm taking the points. You give me the points, I'll take the points. There actually have been some good preseason games that have come down to the wire, but nobody wants to hear about that. The only preseason thing that's interesting is Hard Knocks, whether or not you watch that.
I've been watching second episode's tonight, right?
Yeah, I thought it was on Sunday nights, which is weird, but I guess it comes out tonight. But the first one was entertaining. Whatever.
There's some camp fights and stuff going on too. You have AB's all his drama. It's perfect. The Raiders are right now perfect for
It's
Hard
pretty
Knocks.
funny, like what you think about these, and to get off a track because that's what we do. But the juxtaposition of these two coaches is John Gruden, which is like the old school, and then they're having like a scrimmage and a preseason game with Sean McVay and the Rams. It's like you can't have two coaches more different on the spectrum,
Oh yeah,
right?
easily.
It's like John Gruden looks at this guy, and John Gruden talks out of both sides of his mouth. He's like trying to say like I'm trying to get players to play hard, but then one of the rookies like hits somebody. And you watched the first episode?
Yeah, Adam. Was it Abrams?
Abrams, yeah. He seems like a douche, but I mean I like it. Whatever. He hits some guy during practice. He's like, hey, don't hit these guys. I'm like, whatever.
Well, I mean, in all reality, I mean, it's like there was a team that had a big scrimmage. Green Bay, they had a guy that they freaked out because some guy was popping guys left and right. It was a rookie. And I get that you're trying to get your hole, but like at the same time, dude, this is the NFL. It's not college. Like this is a professional thing. You can't be coming out there taking heads off and non-contact drills, especially.
All of these teams are just trying to get themselves into like the regular season with no like. I mean, the Lions, Jermaine Kearse was not like an integral part of our season plans. But it hurts to lose like your third or fourth wide receiver for no reason.
You don't expect to lose them, especially in a preseason game this early, and that's why it's one thing about preseason that like it's always frustrating me with some guys when they go out there and they end up like Hunter Henry last year. You know, he was going to be a big part of the Chargers team. And AFC West we're talking about, he was supposed to be a big part. Next thing you know, tears ACL. And Ryan Tannehill tears his ACL.
I think it's a generational thing where it's like get out there, put your hand in the dirt, be tough, and play preseason. It's like. No, I'd rather go the Julio Jones route where it's like I can line up week one and be fine.
Yeah,
we'll talk more about Melvin Gordon, I'm sure, later in the podcast. It's like, these guys don't need to be there.
Yeah, it's like you got some guys that I do agree need to be. Like when we're talking about the Browns, I always felt like it's good for Odell to be there or other guys like whenever you have a new coach.
I don't even think so with Odell. Like Odell knows the route trees. He knows what to do.
I get that, but the only reason why is he's with the new coach. He's with a new young quarterback.
But it's not like they can't work on routes and like timing off the field. They don't need to get their timing down in a preseason game.
I'm not saying he needs to be playing preseason.
And then Odell's going over the middle in a preseason game, and some rookie's trying to prove himself and takes his head off.
See, that's the thing. I don't think he needs to play in a preseason game. I just think what he needs to be at is just out there, literally just learning the offense during practice, and that's it.
Well, that's the Antonio Brown thing, where it's like at some point, like you need to actually like work out.
Yes.
But I'm not worried about Antonio Brown coming in in shape. Like he's
Yeah,
not the
no,
kind of
he
he's
should
like
be,
T.O. I compared him to a guy I was talking to at the bar with T.O. where it's like he has all these off the field issues, but he'll never come in out of shape. Like this guy is just like other than all the unprofessional things he does, he's a consummate professional. Like when he plays, he plays. He's never like coming in like Lowry, like Kyle Lowry, or like
he's an NFL wide receiver. God forbid he's a little bit of a diva. Like, which NFL receivers are just like outside your Julios, your Fitzgerald.
It's getting harder to defend
Carters.
Antonio Brown though, right? Like I love Antonio Brown and he's awesome, and I always defend the players. But at some point, it's just like you're not gonna retire because of your helmet.
No,
dude.
and my thing with Antonio Brown is, you know what, he's gonna say he's gonna do whatever he wants. It doesn't I don't really mind it personally. I think it's a little stupid here and there. Don't get me wrong, obviously with the helmet and then just going on but at the end of the day, you know he's gonna produce. You know he's arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. I get everyone loves DeAndre Hopkins or like Julio Jones, but
for good reason too.
Yeah, but we're just talking about
do these kind of if it's a tiebreaker, like I would take the guys who don't do these kind of things. Like I don't know if I've ever heard DeAndre Hopkins say a word.
No, and that's like that doesn't necessarily mean it's a great thing.
But if it's a tiebreaker, if these guys are equal talents, I'll take the guy who I'm not worried about doing all these. Like,
out of all of
things.
them, I would definitely. I mean, my guy would be Julio because he is. I mean, arguably he is the quietest guy, of course, too. But outside of a contract that he wants more of.
Whether or not who you think is better or not, what I'm saying is like, if all things being equal, if these guys are equally as talented, I'll take the guy who I'm not worried about like forcing drama or whatever. I mean, it helps for. I was gonna say it helps for DeAndre Hopkins to have Deshaun Watson as his quarterback, but he for a couple of years had shitty quarterback after shitty quarterbacks. Yeah, and the more I think about it, that guy is. I would put him as the best receiver in the league. Like
really, Hopkins?
Just the things that he does and with the quarterbacks that he's had.
I mean, he's definitely up there. I think he's top. I think he's in that elite top 3 group that we talk about. I think they'll. I mean, obviously the top 3 would be not in order, but Julio Brown and Hopkins. You could interchange any of them.
It's nitpicking, yeah. For me personally, and we're getting into receiver rankings, which is random, but I was talking to my roommate Dan last night, and he only started like really religiously following football in the last 5 years. So I'm showing him like Randy Moss highlights, and he knows like
the push-off.
You know, it's like, oh come on. So you know, like there's things like the whole Michael Jordan thing, and like all these guys like Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin. It's like these things get repeated, and people our age. Let's be real. I never really watched a live Michael Jordan game. People are saying that these guys are the best because their father said it and they're repeating it. It doesn't mean it's not true, but you're coming at it from a perspective of not actually having seen it. I saw Randy Moss. I never really watched a live Michael Irvin game or Jerry Rice game. I like my receivers to be 6'5", and I like them to be able to jump over everybody. I think Randy Moss is the best receiver of all time.
Ooh.
I mean, who would you?
I have T.O. over him in a heartbeat.
I think
just because T.O. could run better routes and T.O. could do it. Like, right, I get.
But Randy Moss, he didn't not run routes because he couldn't do it. It's just he never needed to.
Well, he also couldn't run over the middle. Like he didn't like going over the middle.
He couldn't
of the field.
do it,
It was actually said and known. He did not like.
He didn't need to.
He didn't like being over the middle of the field. He didn't like taking that risk. When he was in Oakland,
right? Why does he
that.
need to do it though? Why would he? Oh, the Oakland years you can't hold against him. Like. This guy is the best receiver of all time, and you're counting years where he didn't even try.
Yeah, but you're talking about, okay, so you just said like off-field drama, blah, blah, blah. Like he was more off-field drama than T.O. was.
Yeah, people forget he was supposed to go to Florida State.
Yeah,
he would have been the best Florida State player of all time. Deion Sanders be damned.
Yeah, honestly, no. That was the only reason why I have him over T.O. over is because when Randy was pissed, he would literally just stop playing and did not care.
And you can
when
hold that against him. I'm just saying, talent alone. If you're looking at this guy, I like my receivers to be 6'5". He literally has an act. When I was in high school, and maybe for you too, you guys, he had a thing named after him, like You Got Moss.
Yeah.
It's like that wasn't just a thing on NFL Countdown. It wasn't just a thing on NFL Countdown. Like You Got Moss was a thing that people said when I was in high school.
Oh, Revis Island. Just think about Revis Island. Look at that.
Why are we talking about Darrelle Revis? Why are we talking about the Jets?
So, I mean, because when Revis was there, he was. I mean, at least when Revis was on the Jets or in that Revis Island, they were actually good. At least, I mean, they 2 AFC championship games.
We got derailed. We didn't even get into what we were getting into. So we're gonna do.
Fitzgerald's my guy though, as when we're talking about pure talent.
Of all time.
Of all time, yeah. Pure talent.
But Randy Moss is more talented than Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, but he also didn't have Matt Leinart. He didn't have
well, that's fine.
I mean,
when
that's
he had Tom Brady, he had like a Hall of Fame type season.
Yes. Just like when Larry had I'm gonna bag your groceries, Kurt Warner. It was, you know, he like went out there and on Leaping Larry was a legit theme during that Super Bowl run.
And we'll get into what I think is one of the more underrated quarterbacks when we get into what we're actually getting into. I think one of the more overrated quarterbacks is Kurt Warner.
I'm with you there, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and I get, but here's like, like we've said before.
Look who you played with.
Exactly.
Dude.
We have one team. You have Isaac, Marshall, Holt, and the other team you have, you know, Anquan and Larry Fitzgerald.
That's when I like started watching football. Was like Marshall Falk and like Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt.
Dude, it was fun. That was a fun group. David Archuleta was on that team as a safety, man. Dude, I remember.
Oh, I love that guy, man.
He was fun at least. He was good.
David Archuleta. That's what you got out of that?
Well, I was just thinking of guys. I was just going memory lanes.
Oh man.
Santana Moss. Who said Santana? This wasn't named.
All right.
Moss.
We're gonna do NFC. You want to do NFC West first?
Yeah, we go dive right into the NFC West.
I actually needed to write it down because we don't really think about these divisions. I don't really think about football that much as divisions. I think more AFC, NFC. But so we have San Francisco, Seattle, Arizona, and the Rams. A couple of just the more interesting things that I thought as far as that division goes. You have, like, if you think about the quarterbacks, you have Russell Wilson, you have Kyler Murray, you have Jared Goff,
Jimmy G,
and Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think Jared. I mean, who would you say is like the worst quarterback in that division?
Kyler, but only because he hasn't really played yet. So it's like, and I think it's really unfair to put him. I think it'd be very, very unfair to put him above number one Russell Wilson. I don't like Jimmy G.
Russell Wilson is by far the best quarterback in that division.
I think Russell Wilson's arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, he's top five.
I think he makes that strong argument to be in that conversation. Like, I understand, like, Mahomes, obviously, in the division over, the next one we'll talk about. I think he's right now just planned out to be one of the best for the next, like, 15 years. But when you look at Russell Wilson and what he has to work with, since Russell Wilson's actually lost that run game that they have Marshawn Lynch when they won the Super Bowl and that great defense they had, it's been kind of just, all right, Russell, it's you and see where you can take us. And Russell hasn't really had the greatest guys to throw to with Tyler Lockett.
His best receiver of all time, you would say, what, Doug Baldwin?
Maybe Golden Tate.
Yeah, I would put Doug Baldwin ahead of Golden Tate, but I mean, you're kind of like splitting hairs.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not clear cut. But as far as that goes, like, management, if you follow like the whole Seahawks thing, they kind of bet on Russell Wilson. They went away from all the defensive players. They didn't pay them. I think they paid Bobby Wagner.
Wagner's,
one of the more underrated. We could do a whole show about underrated, overrated.
When we talk about defense player of the year, he's that strong candidate right there.
He's one of the more underrated. If you just ask people at a bar, like, do you know what team Bobby Wagner plays for? Like, a random.
A lot of people don't even know who Bobby Wagner is too.
So I'm saying a random person might not know.
Yeah.
But he's like guaranteed like top 10, 15
like someone will know Khalil Mack just because ESPN will force feed it down everyone's throat. But
the whole thing that happened last year with him. Yeah.
But Bobby Wagner, when you look at him, is like Wagner's arguably the top defensive player in the league. Like he's all around right there.
He's just a quiet guy who just gets it done. But the whole thing with Russell Wilson, he's kind of gone through two eras now. With the Seahawks, they had the Marshawn Lynch thing, and then they had the whole like Legion of Boom. He's in a new era now where it's him and nobody really left besides Bobby Wagner from that team, and he just like gets it done. And Russell Wilson, like, I think people underrate him as well.
I personally love watching Russell Wilson.
It's weird though, right? Because we watch him, right, and he does the same move every time. He starts here, and then he rolls back, and then he rolls out to his left. I'm like, if I know he's doing it, and they know he's doing it, but it still works, that just means he's that good at doing it.
He needs to teach every quarterback how to slide. Get it? He did play pro baseball. He's a known baseball player.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, he needs to teach quarterbacks how to slide, because when you watch him, you know that's the thing about him is he doesn't have that, like, half-ass slide. Like, he can really, like, he actually gets out of the way. He
it's the Russell Wilson seminar,
he needs to personally teach every quarterback how to slide.
Who is the worst at that? Is it Roethlisberger?
Oh, Flacco. Oh, yeah, Flacco, man. Kiko Alonso showed us that one.
Oh, my God.
Flacco's little check, please.
Yeah, there's some people who it's like, there was a guy last year who was like, this guy just can't slide. I'm trying to think who it was. It was like an actual big story.
RG3
was one of those guys, right?
Yes, No, he could not.
But yeah, so as far as that division goes, there's a lot of interesting stuff as far as like the Seahawks are kind of like the steady team with the management, with the people they still have. You have Russell Wilson.
Do you think their head coach is going to be gone after this year if they don't?
Pete Carroll?
Yeah, you think if they don't make the next jump because
it's the Michigan thing with Jim Harbaugh. Like if they don't win this year, is Jim Harbaugh gone? Not to bring it to Michigan every time, but it's a similar thing. Like you're going to fire Pete Carroll for who?
No, I mean, Tomlin and Sean Payton are available.
Yeah. And you fire Pete Carroll immediately. He's getting hired by the Patriots as like an offensive coordinator.
He's not taking an OC job. He's going to head
No, but
coaching
I'm just
job.
saying,
Yeah.
like, if you fired Pete Carroll immediately, he would get hired. Like after.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely has.
I would love the Lions to have.
I mean,
we've had Matt Patricia for for 1 year, and I already hate him. I just don't like my quarterback. I don't like my coach to be fat. I mean, it's the same thing with the Brady Hoke years with Michigan. Mm-hmm. I don't want my quarterback to tell my players to work out and run hard, and then my my coach is fat.
the coach got to sit in the film room and eat all day.
Do you think these players looking at Brady Hoke and like, yeah, this guy really inspires confidence in me?
Andy Reid would give me confidence on how to run an offense.
Andy Reid, I'll give you, because Andy Reid is like actually smart. But when you're talking about Matt Patricia, like we said last week, and he's like writing on a laminated sheet with a pencil behind his ear, it's a pencil and it's a laminated sheet.
I will say that
it doesn't look as good when you're not with Belichick anymore.
No, it doesn't. I think that's what always made him look good too. Was like he's a smart guy, obviously he knows the game. I just think he's strictly a coordinator. He doesn't seem to be a head
look what
coach.
you guys have with Kellen Moore. It's like I look up, Kellen Moore is a backup for the Lions, and next thing I know, he's an offensive coordinator for the Cowboys.
Hey, I'm all for young offensive mind, man. I'm for it at this point.
Yeah, I want like the new thing. I want like the Sean McVay. I don't want like these old. And that's why we get back to Pete Carroll. It's like.
He's one of the oldest head coaches right now.
Which is weird because I mean
he doesn't look like it physically, actually, in my opinion. Like
he
doesn't
kick my ass probably. I mean,
him and Metcalf. He ripped his shirt off when Metcalf walked in the room.
Wait, Pete Carroll ripped his shirt off when Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yep.
If you guys don't know who DK Metcalf is, just do two Google searches. Google Tom Brady combine and Google DK Metcalf combine. It is the most stark comparison you'll see in your life.
But that is a true thing, though. When you really look at Metcalf, the kind of scary thing is he's going to create separation. Is he going to get off on those intermediate routes? I mean, it's not obviously going to be. Because even at Ole Miss, like he wasn't like this stellar guy.
No, he was a combine like stud.
Yeah,
people see how he looks. But he was also a third-round pick. It's not like they're running their offense around.
No, there was a point where people were talking about he was gonna be a first-rounder though.
Because of what he did at the combine. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, nobody who watched college football is like, this guy is the end-all be-all. Yeah.
And it's kind of, but it's like Ole Miss had a pass receiver that's Laquan Treadwell. He was one of those too. That was supposed to be.
And he
God,
on the last play of the season, I think it was, when he actually went in for a touchdown. Laquan Treadwell did, and he tore his entire knee up or his entire leg up. And that guy was awesome for Ole Miss. It's crazy that you brought that up. I love that guy. Who's that? What? So yeah, I mean, just going team by team. I mean, you have Seattle. That I wouldn't say they're the most interesting team, just because we already kind of know what they're going by. I don't see the comments of whatever Stretch is laughing at. What is it? Oh, new comments 15.
New comments 15.
What did the Ryan twins? Yeah, he did. Oh, such a good boy.
When you really look at this division, though, I do want to see what happens with. Obviously, I'm going to pick Seattle when this division is outright. I am going to pick Seattle.
Yeah,
right
away. I was going to get to that when we went team by team, but you'll pick Seattle just because they're kind of like the more stable type team. Seattle is like more of a stable type team. You know what you're getting with the quarterback, with the coach, with the management, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, why would you doubt? The Rams were just in the Super Bowl, so it's kind of weird that we're both kind of.
To be honest,
we're both kind of picking the Seahawks to get ahead of ourselves. We're both kind of picking the Seahawks. The Rams were just in the Super Bowl, and what changed?
I don't know. I just feel because here's the thing too about Super Bowl teams. There's always two teams that go in. One team doesn't typically pan out to be.
One team doesn't make the playoffs the next year, yeah.
And if I'm to pick,
and it's not going to be the Patriots.
And that's my thing. It's like it's so difficult to, and I hate basing it off of that. But history does show that it's a very consistent trend. And I get people like the Rams. I get people like the name. Okay, you have a question with Todd Gurley right now. There are still questions all over that defense outside of one position and one player, and Aaron Donald. The defense is still all over the place, kind of bad. And by kind of bad, I mean like that's what really like kind of caused them to be that was their big catalyst last year was their issue because their offense is obviously fantastic. McVay knows what he's doing. He's shown it. But will they have that Super Bowl hangover? I think they possibly will.
And I think the best argument that we can make, as far as like we're both picking probably Seattle, I think we already said that, but like we said, it's weird enough. One of the teams that makes the Super Bowl doesn't make the playoffs next year. The best argument that we can make is it's not going to be the Patriots.
Yeah, and that, well, I mean, it's so hard.
That's
like,
the only argument you can make. Like, one of the teams from the Super Bowl is not going to make the playoffs, and we know it's not going to be the Patriots.
Because the AFC East is just so bad that, like, if Tom got hurt,
It
a
wouldn't
backup
matter, yeah.
could go 9-7, 10-6
Right.
still.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like their backups are prepared enough to still go out there and win some games. Like, I think Belichick truly prepares their backups.
Their backups just destroyed the Lions, but I know it's preseason, but their backups just destroyed the Lions like 31-0.
Like most backups hang out and they just talk and
Yeah.
just like, and you know, yeah, they're there, but they're not truly prepared when they get in.
No, Brian Hoyer can run an offense.
Yeah, I'm not saying
he could start for a team. Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to go out there and win one or anything.
But he could
like,
win the AFC East.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got Miami.
It's not that hard.
Miami, New York, Buffalo. Like,
But I just thought it was weird because we're all like, me and you are on Seattle, but what changed from the Rams other than like they had a good season last year and then just kind of regression. We'll talk about this more in the fantasy thing, but I had a 16-team league and I had a choice to keep Todd Gurley, and I'm like, I just don't want to have like that issue all year.
Yeah.
Like, the whole knee thing and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, I mean, San Francisco is kind of like the wild card of the division. I could see them finishing last. Well, I think we both think probably Arizona's going to finish last. San Francisco, I think, has a possibility of finishing last or first.
I think the thing with San Francisco is they have the most overrated guy under center. And I've been thinking
Garoppolo?
I think he's
How is he
ungodly overrated.
You
How do
think-
you make
you think-
$98 million and you played like 6 games in your career?
Because he played behind Tom Brady.
Yeah, but like, see, that's my thing. Like,
He got the Matt Flynn treatment.
not even because Matt Flynn was never even behind Brady. Matt Flynn at least.
No, Matt Flynn had that one good game.
Oh, yeah,
with,
against Dallas.
Yeah, he had that one good game,
Yeah.
and he wound up getting usurped by Russell Wilson.
$98 million fully guaranteed for like.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying, and also Nick Mullins, I mean, didn't look terrible last year. That's another guy who's going to like earn a contract for himself. But I don't think you can say like one way or another. Like you can't say Garoppolo is terrible. You can't say he's awesome. I think it's a wild card. Like I could see them winning the division, but I can also see them finishing last.
I don't see them winning that division. I don't see them
They had a
making
lot of
playoffs.
injuries last year, and they have like, if you look at the draft picks they have, like that defense is going to be good.
Well, I don't know because their defense is hurt again. I mean, Foster's out. I mean, Foster's completely gone off the team.
Foster
you have,
is not who I would worry.
He's the Redskins.
Their defensive line, though.
Bosa's already hurt. Like Bosa's hurt.
Well, that's what they
right
do
now.
from Ohio State. That's just what they teach there. I mean,
Well, Bosa's like Nick is not playing right now. But Nick is actually hurt. Solomon hasn't been that great of a guy since he's come out of Stanford. I just don't look at.
well,
like,
he was hurt last year. I mean, it's the same thing with like Myles Garrett. Like people don't know that he's that good, but it's because he missed a lot of the season because he was hurt.
Well, Miles had at least Miles has shown like flashes of being good. And these guys haven't even shown that really in San Francisco yet. And I
But
get
it was his rookie season last year for Solomon, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. So I'm just saying like San Francisco is like kind of a wild card. I could see them winning it, and I can also see them finishing last.
I have Arizona going ahead of them, to be honest with you. If I was to see a wild card out of the team, I could see a.
So you have more confidence in Kyler Murray, who we've never seen play, than Jimmy Garoppolo, who we have seen play.
Yeah, just because the fact that it's different, it's going to be a new look. It's going to be this is going to be a different looking offense.
You have no issues with it's Cliff Kingsbury, right? Who didn't get all these college jobs, got fired from college, couldn't get a college job, and then the Cardinals hire him. I'm not saying he's good or not good. I'm just saying I would have more concern. Just the Kyle Shanahan thing would make me feel better if I was a San Francisco fan than having Cliff Kingsbury as my head coach. And a rookie quarterback and a team that actually like really sucked last year.
No, and
The Cardinals really sucked last year.
my big thing when it came to obviously the Cardinals, and we're looking at them right now, versus where Christian Kirk is healthy now. Christian Kirk, I think, is gonna be a solid target for Kyler to be thrown to. You're gonna have
I love David Johnson.
David
yeah.
Johnson's be back there, and you saw the big thing that killed them last year is their offensive play calling was just horrendous.
Their offensive line was like fucked last year.
And it was and they weren't even throwing the ball to David Johnson at points
sorry.
last year. And David Johnson should be seeing the ball, should be catching the ball at least 8 times a game, in my opinion, when it came to who you have to be throwing.
He should be like their leading receiver.
Realistically.
Larry Fitz.
Then you have Larry, you have Christian Kirk. I mean, I don't think, obviously, Arizona's be like this spectacular team, but if I was to pick a team to finish last in the division, I'm actually not going to pick them and pick San Francisco again.
If I didn't know better of Larry Fitzgerald and just his entire career, he was like one of those candidates that I'd love to see go to the Patriots and just like win a championship.
Yeah.
Because we know the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl anyways. We'll get to that later in Super Bowl picks. But if there's one guy who I want to see who deserves to win a championship, like, is there a guy who got more overshadowed in a Super Bowl that had an awesome Super Bowl
Oh
game.
man, that slant route just
by Santonio Holmes. It was Santonio
greatest
Holmes, right?
catch. I think that's the greatest catch in all of football history. By the way,
And Larry Fitzgerald just got overshadowed by that. And if
it won a Super Bowl.
If there's one guy who I want to see win a Super Bowl,
No.
it's Larry Fitzgerald.
Because that catch didn't even win anything. It was Plax who won the damn game. Everyone forgets that Tyree.
Well, the Stretch is pointing to his shirt. He's a Giants fan, but I mean, let's be honest. The gloves did most of the work, right? I mean, come on.
I mean, I will give Plax this. I mean, David Tyree obviously catches a great ball, but like that doesn't win anything. It's Plax who wins it. Santonio Holmes literally won a game with the double tap. Like that is, in my opinion, the greatest catch just because of the severity of it and what happened after he caught it.
Manningham.
Oh, Super Mario Manningham.
Back in the day.
Man, that's a nice little Lamar Arrington.
Oh man, the good old days.
Look at you.
David Archuleta. He said, we're talking about the greatest show on turf, and he's talking about David Archuleta.
Hey man, we're throwing out names. I'm not gonna be boring. I'm gonna be talking about Marshall
man.
Faulk all I want.
Yeah, names that bring you back to like the good old days of football.
Oh man, the good old days of football. Yeah, we have some of those.
Hubanamanui.
Rocket Ishmael.
Oh man.
Yeah.
TJ, who's your mama?
Oh,
that was
man.
a fantasy god.
I like seeing him on. He's always on with what's his face who I don't like though. It's
Usman
Whitlock.
Zada.
Yeah, he's always with Whitlock.
The only name I couldn't see on Madden that they couldn't fit the whole name. TJ Husmanzadeh.
Yeah, because they even got Nomni Asa was on there.
Oh yeah.
Was it my But when you look at the division up and down, I really don't. I mean, the Rams are going to be under so much like for teams to go back to back to back and make those runs. It's just such a tough thing to wear on the team mentally. I don't know if Jared Goff's going to be able to just do that again. And I'm not trying to take away from Goff, but is Goff going to have that amazing year again?
Would you rather have, as a head coach right now, would you rather have Pete Carroll or Sean McVay?
Here's the thing on that one. Depends on the team, I would say. Because if the team is a veteran team, by far Pete Carroll, because he knows how to deal with people and that he knows how to win with those guys. But if it's younger guys, I would obviously rather have McVay just because of the fact that he's a younger-minded guy and he connects with those guys better.
And not only do you have those two guys in the division, you have Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, Shanahan, whose offensive mind is like. Is
he the head coach for?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
and if it wasn't for the Super Bowl that
is that like
happened
the best,
in Atlanta,
is that the best head coach division in football? I mean, it's tough to think off the top of your head, but you have Kyle Shanahan, who after he left the Falcons, I mean, look what they've done. You have Pete Carroll, and you have Pete Carroll, Kyle Shanahan, and Sean McVay, which all of them have been to Super Bowls.
now Kingsbury,
right?
who's going to be
Well, the Falcons didn't go to the Super Bowl. Oh,
No, the Falcons did. They
with
lost,
Kyle Shanahan, So you have 3 Super Bowl head coaches, and then you have with the Cardinals, you have.
The Cardinals
Kingsbury.
are using a huge gamble because if this works for the Cardinals, it's the next trend in the NFL, is air raid. If the air raid works for the Cardinals, other teams are going to use the air raid. It's kind of like, Golden State when they were doing the 3-ball, where they're consistently on volume with the 3-pointer shooting. It's not that Golden State has gotten worse. It's just now everyone else is adapting to what they did, and they were the first ones to do it. I think if this air raid if the air raid works for Arizona, it's going to be hard for teams like Atlanta. It's going to be hard for teams like Detroit to look at that and be like, why can't we do air raid as well? Because we have the receiving core. We have the guy who can throw it. I feel like it's going to be a potential new trend in the NFL if it works in Arizona.
I think it's one of the more interesting divisions as we talk about it. It's just like, which one of those teams would show up on Thursday Night Football that you don't want to watch?
Yeah.
Like, I want to watch Russell Wilson. I want to see what Kyler Murray can do. We got
to see Garoppolo still.
With Garoppolo with the injury last year, I mean, we have no idea. And then, I mean, you have Goff to me is kind of like, it's kind of a weird comparison, but he's almost like the, he's better than this, but he's almost like the, who's you guys coach, the Cowboys coach?
Oh, Garrett, Jesus Christ.
He's almost like the Jason Garrett of quarterbacks. It's like Sean McVay just kind of speaks into his helmet before the 30 seconds cuts off. Everyone knows about that.
I'm glad you mentioned that because not a lot of people ever talk about that enough with Goff, like how he doesn't
I think
recognize
people know
things
about it
right
who
away.
watch football. People know about it. It's like, so there's a rule. What is it? It's a
20-second cutoff. I think you have.
But there's a 45-second play clock. Once it gets down to 25, there's no communication. But for the first 25 seconds or 20 seconds, the green sticker on your helmet is who the coach communicates with. The coach, so Sean McVay, why they had so much success, he can pretty much tell Jared Goff what the defense is.
Yeah, right away. And he's already explaining what they may do as well.
So you see Peyton Manning go up to the line, and he says, this is the mic, this is the rover, this is the coverage, this and that. Sean McVay was doing that for Jared Goff. and teams kind of caught up to it, because what teams would do last year is
disguising.
they would do one defense, and then as soon as they knew the time cut off, they'd switch into their real defense. But
Which is, in my opinion, I think it's absolutely sad that a quarterback can't recognize that. Because I hate to say, dude, you're
not even necessarily, he's just a second-year quarterback. It's not that he can't, but I mean, that's an advantage that most teams should use.
I get that, but like at the same time, quarterbacks for years been able to call their own plays. I mean, it's just been a thing quarterbacks do. So the fact that Goff can't is frustrating to me, especially because he was the #1 pick.
I thought it was so weird that like last year or not even last year, the year before is when people first like found out that McVay was doing that. It's almost weird that more teams weren't doing it, and it's like you're allowed to communicate with your quarterback. Shouldn't the head coach? It's kind of like if you can't do, you teach. Andy Reid doesn't need to be telling Patrick Mahomes, but he can say, hey, this is the coverage, this is what you should do, this and that.
Well, Mahomes also I don't think Goff's IQ as a quarterback is all there, because remember when he first got to the Rams, I understand it was his first year, and everyone was talking about him as when he was with Fisher. But the thing with him is what kept him out of a lot of snaps and reps because he could not grasp an offense. McVay's got a tougher offense to understand, and he doesn't grasp it right away either. It's like, what's your job? Your job is not only to play quarterback, to understand what you're going up against every week in game planning.
It's not actually like a tough offense, though. Like, they run most of their sets out of 11 personnel, which, like, they have, like, these different things in the NFL, like 11, 12. This denotes how many running backs, how many tight ends you have. They run most of it out of 11 personnel. And they're one of the only teams that runs like 70% of their stuff out of the same set. So it's not actually.
They have a lot of movement though in their offense though.
So I think when Jeff Fisher was there, it was one thing. And when McVay got there, he's like, okay, I have Jared Goff. I can work with him in this way. I can make it so simple for him that all he has to do is like the athletic part. He doesn't. He knows that Jared Goff is not Peyton Manning. He makes it so easy for him that all he has to do is like the athletic part. Like, one of the biggest criticisms for Jared Goff is that he can't like see receivers when they're getting open.
Yeah.
He only sees them once they're open. He doesn't lead them open. This kind of thing. That's like the thing you can be worried about.
That's a huge thing to worry about because in the NFL, it's not, like I said, it's not college where you don't have that extra second of a window. It's like, no, that window's there. It closes right away too.
And we're getting into the point where it's like people are getting smarter. It's like we don't need this 6'5" cannon arm quarterback. We need like a Baker Mayfield, Drew Brees type where accuracy is everything.
Yes. Like if you can, that's the number one thing with the quarterback, and that's why I kill some quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, quarterbacks like that. When you're not accurate, it's just not going to work. Not the arm, because the big arm, there are a lot of guys that have big arms. Josh Allen has a huge arm.
Yeah.
His accuracy is really bad though. Like he's
all you're going to wind up doing is overthrow guys.
Exactly. We saw Dante Culpepper, one of those guys had a great arm. It's just like, when you are not an accurate quarterback, it's just you can't do anything without accuracy, no matter what or how good you are.
I would rather have an accurate quarterback than have a guy who can I would rather have both, but I would rather have an accuracy over like throwing the ball 80 yards and you're just going to overthrow guys.
Yeah, like the perfect receiver for Josh Allen would be a Tyreek Hill, a guy who can just literally run straight. Robbie Anderson,
who you cannot overthrow.
A guy you just want to run straight and as far and as fast as possible.
And that's why Mahomes and Tyreek are so good because it's like this guy cannot be overthrown.
No.
It's just like, it's not fair. But, as far as that division goes, I think pretty much we covered everything. The defenses are pretty interesting, too. I mean, I don't know about you. I think Aaron Donald is probably the best player in the league. So you have that with the Rams. The Todd Gurley thing is interesting. We'll see as far as his injury and all that goes for the season.
That's going to be the big question because they, if Todd Gurley's not out there, right, and he is not – because the thing about that team is – for them to be that good, Todd Gurley's got to be that good again. I don't believe you can look at Jared Goff and say, okay, we need 40 touchdowns and no more than 15 interceptions. I don't think he's that kind of. He's not a Patrick Mahomes where he can give you a year like that.
I mean, the running game would help. Todd Gurley would help anybody, but the running game especially helps Jared Goff.
Yes, that's the thing. Like, I think they have to have a healthy Todd Gurley to win that division. Because at the end of the day, when that division comes towards the end, and they're only like a game ahead of Seattle, there's 4 games left. Seattle's going to know that, and that's the good thing about Pete Carroll is Pete Carroll keeps his guys consistent because there was points last year we didn't think Seattle was going to make the playoffs. They ended up making the wild card late, and they pushed in. That's a big thing, and you have Russell Wilson, who's obviously he's already won a Super Bowl, so not many quarterbacks can say that they've already won a Super Bowl.
Right.
He's still got plenty of time to go, and he's an elite talent at that position as well.
I just thought it was interesting that the Rams literally made the Super Bowl last year, and me and you both, I think, we'll get to, I mean, we're picking it now.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Seahawks.
Yeah, same, Seahawks.
It's just weird that nothing really changed that much. I mean, they brought most of the people back, and we're still picking the Seahawks. I don't know. We'll see. I was surprised going over the divisions as we are that it was as interesting as it was.
Yeah, no, like
all the teams are teams that I will watch.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. The problem with those games, everyone like you're already like a lot of people don't want to watch those Thursday night games. They typically involve some of those teams on those Thursday night games.
I'll watch anything.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the general. Not a lot of people obviously watch the Cardinals. Not a lot of people watch the 49ers. They didn't. Not a lot of people are watching these teams that we're talking about today. Yeah, like especially in the AFC West, we have we can transition to that. I mean, you have LA with the Chargers, and you have Kansas City, two right away that people are already going to be talking about to be Super Bowl favorites potentially.
You think the Chargers are Super Bowl favorites?
Well, they have the big talk with their defense. I don't think they are Super Bowl favorite at all personally. I think Pittsburgh is going to be.
I mean, not favorites, but like top 10, right? You wouldn't say they're maybe in the top 10.
If you're to pick 3 teams out of the AFC, 3 or 4 teams out of the AFC, they'll be a team you talk about.
So AFC West, we have Kansas City Chiefs, Oakland Raiders, Denver Broncos, and Los Angeles Chargers. Getting into that, I mean, I think the most fun and interesting team that has that division is the Chiefs, right? Like, if that team is like playing themselves, I'm gonna watch it. If they're just playing against nobody, I'll watch it. You have Patrick Mahomes, and we're gonna see with Kareem Hunt gone, but they still have Damian Harris, who I think is really good. They still have Travis Kelce. No matter who they're playing, you're gonna watch.
You're gonna. I mean, the big question with them because they added Frank Clark in a trade. They added Tyrann Mathieu. It's like. The big question for Kansas City has always been their defense.
I thought the Lions got Frank Clark. Was it the Chiefs?
Yeah, I thought the Chiefs got. Oh no, the Chiefs got what's his face.
The Lions got Frank Clark.
No,
right?
the Chiefs got what's his face from Seattle. Made a trade with the pass rush from Seattle.
We need your help, Stretch.
Give him first rounder. I'm going to be really. I got to look this up.
No, the Lions got Frank Clark. The Chiefs got Phil.
Oh, we're trying this.
But it's going to be interesting to see if Patrick Mahomes can do the same thing. I mean, he's not going to do the same thing because last year was like legendary. But if you think about it, last year was like his rookie season. And that's the same thing like Lamar Jackson this year. Lamar Jackson, until he gets to week 10, he's still technically a rookie.
Yeah.
Because he only started 4 games last year.
No, I agree with that.
So this is technically Patrick Mahomes' second season. And I think everybody's expecting it. It can't be as good as it was last year.
I don't believe it. I mean, it's Frank Clark from Seattle.
I thought the Lions got Frank Clark. Who did we get?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know who the Lions got.
Yeah, we suck anyways.
But it's Frank Clark, which when you look at that, they needed a premier pass rusher for that team. Every team's a pass rusher, obviously, because it's just going to help out. It helps your DBs. It helps DBs who aren't that great. Because, like, you look at, they got Morris Claiborne, and I can tell you this much. Morris Claiborne's horrendous. He sucks.
Yeah.
Morris Claiborne,
as a Cowboys fan, you know.
He sucks. Like, watching him play football
Which is crazy because he was so good in college.
And no, that's the funny thing. We traded up for him, and the big talk about him was he was supposed to be better than Patrick Peterson. He was like
also LSU, both.
Yes, he was supposed to be the big guy coming. I heard that was his comparison. Everyone talked about Claiborne's, but also his Wonderlic score. Which don't get me wrong, I don't care about your Wonderlic score, but I do get really annoyed hearing that you had the lowest Wonderlic score ever.
If we could get our hands on like a Wonderlic and we both take it and just like see like what the.
From what I hear, it's football IQ. So these guys should kind of already know. Since they've made it this far.
Didn't like Jamarcus Russell get one of like the best Wonderlic scores or something, or one of the worst?
I know Claiborne supposedly had guys from LSU don't typically do well on that. But I know Claiborne got like a 5 on it, and it's like
you don't need to be smart to be a defensive back though. Like
I mean, clearly you do because it showed that he was just he's not.
There's guys like that, like Morris Claiborne and like not Patrick Peterson because he actually is awesome, but Morris Claiborne, it's like he has every tool possible to be like one of the best DBs in the league.
No.
And why not?
Bro, it was the most frustrating thing. I remember there was
Didn't they get him in the first round?
Yeah, they traded up for him. He like 7th overall pick.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was. I remember when they traded up for him, I was excited, and then I was just like, Jesus Christ, why did we do this? Because we paid Carr from Kansas City that 5-year deal the same year. We thought we had 2 really good DBs, and it turned out they both sucked.
Oh, Brandon Carr?
Yeah, God, he was horrendous too. I mean, Brandon Carr, if it wasn't for Odell Beckham.
Oh, Trey Flowers, that's who the Lions
okay,
got.
Flowers, okay. But no, it's, when you're looking at my big thing when it comes to Kansas City is obviously the offense is fine. And the thing I like about Mahomes too is he doesn't really have a premier. And when I say this, everyone's gonna freak out because they're looking at the numbers. Like Tyreek Hill is not a premier wide receiver.
No. What everyone thinks about fantasy, and I think I think you're exactly right. Tyreek is an awesome receiver,
Yes.
right? And he works well with Mahomes. I don't want my number one receiver to be a speedy, like 5'8" guy.
Yeah, no, and like he's not on the list of Michael Thomas. He's not on the list,
No,
and I'm not saying
no.
numbers. I'm just talking about
We're
playing
not talking
the
about
position.
fantasy.
Yes,
We're just talking about
playing
regular,
the
like
actual position.
football receivers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I would rather have as my number one receiver. I'd rather have Kenny Galladay than I would rather have Tyreek Hill as my number one receiver.
yeah, I mean, just because of the fact that it's just as all they can do overall, and it's like I said, it's no knock on him. And I'm not talking about the numbers. I'm just talking about the actual position.
You want your number one receiver to be over 6 feet. You don't want him to be like the speedy guy and all that, the injuries and all that kind of
he's
stuff.
working with Tyreek Hill. He's working with.
You don't
and
want him
also
to beat their girlfriend and
Yeah.
their kid. I mean, ideally.
He's teaching him how to box.
Right, yeah. You punch him in the chest, right.
And then he's got Sammy Watkins, which, let's be very honest, Sammy Watkins is a complete bust. He is a complete bust.
Talk about Morris Claiborne and
Yeah,
guys who should have been
exactly.
awesome. Like,
And Watkins was the 4th overall pick. I don't think I'm crazy for saying he's a bust because he's really done nothing. I mean, he only got like 400, 500 yards with Mahomes. Mahomes threw over 5,000 last year.
you know what those Clemson teams had?
Oh, dude.
Those Clemson teams had Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins, and 2 other guys.
They had Taj Boyd throwing the ball, too.
That just
Like, if they would have had Watson.
That's a testament to the
like,
receiver.
if you put Watson
Todd
on those
Boyd's a
teams.
goddamn tight end.
Oh, man. Dude. You put Watson on those teams, now that's a whole nother story.
You put
Because Watson already won.
You put Taj Boyd on the Patriots, that's a Hall of Fame wide receiver, right?
Oh, yeah.
You see what they're doing with Danny Etling if you watch college
Oh, he just
football.
got cut.
Did he?
Yeah, Elling got cut from New England.
I was looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
he just got cut from New England.
Damn.
Yep, he got cut today. They said the experiment is over.
I'm sure they'll pick him back up to pay him less or
I'm
something
sure the
like that.
Lions or the Titans will pick him up. One of the ex Bill Belichick guys are going
You
to
can go
jump
back
on
in the
him
draft.
heartbeat.
We'll take him as a tight end next year in the first round.
That's-
Fucking Lions.
But it's when I watch Kansas City though, my big question is their because I want to still pick them. And I'm realistically like, cause I just think Mahomes
Yeah,
is the
we haven't even
future.
talked about any other team yet.
Exactly.
That's the Chiefs are it. They're the most exciting team maybe in the league.
Yes.
Definitely in the,
It's just
the
Mahomes as
division.
a whole. I'm a really big Mahomes fan. I love watching what he can do.
Yeah, who
I like seeing the
doesn't?
big
I love
arm.
Mahomes,
Yes.
yeah.
People who don't like Mahomes or think he's overrated, I question.
How could you be overrated after 1 year?
And the only reason why I kind of like hesitate
All
on
you
that
did
is I'm like,
last year is break records, and they're like, "Oh, how could you be overrated after 1 year?"
and it wasn't like when I say that, so that wasn't like it was Dak Prescott's first year. Where Dak Prescott took the league by storm, and everyone looked at his year.
he had the best offensive line of all time.
He had a
and
great
the running game and
game.
everything like that.
This
yeah.
guy went out there through 5,000 yards and like 50 touchdowns.
And we'll see without Kareem Hunt, but it's not like Kareem Hunt
Yes.
made Patrick Mahomes.
Which honestly, if you want me a nice little hot take, but maybe this time next year we'll talk about it. I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to be a Kansas City Chief next year. Just because the fact that you're looking at teams
That would be fucking awesome.
that would be really pissed off about that personally.
Well, the thing about this is like team building.
Mm-hmm.
You have a young quarterback in Mahomes. You don't have to pay him for like 3 more years unless he
Exactly.
does one of these Dak things where you're like asking for. But theoretically, you don't have to pay Mahomes for 3 more years. You could do whatever you want. You could sign any of these guys.
Yep.
You could get Melvin Gordon. You can get Zeke Elliott. You can get any of these guys who are like asking for this huge money. You're paying your quarterback. I have to look up his contract. He's got to be. He was a first-round pick, but
Yeah,
he's got to be
yeah.
making like $2 million.
And he's got that 5th-year team option too, so they don't have to pay him for another 4 years.
If I had to guess, he's going to get money before the 5th-year team option.
Well,
but for now, he's getting like $2 million.
Well,
a
you
year.
want to because you want any other quarter. You don't want all these like.
You don't want him going to free agency.
Well, not only that, it's just you don't want the quarterback market to jump up from like you don't want to have to pay this. I mean, I understand that. Yeah, is he worth it after that year? You look at it, yeah, but you don't want to.
You have to balance what you can put around him now.
Yes.
Before you give him the
$200 million deal in a couple of years.
while you locked. It's almost like Florida prepaid with college.
Yeah.
It's like you're locking down the rate now. So it's like you have a couple years, this year, next year, maybe the year after, where you have him for cheap. And you put guys around him. If you said Zeke Elliott, Jesus, I mean, like.
Honestly though, when you really look at the structure of that team, like you said, we're talking about team building. It would be rare not to possibly see that because Dallas was in a lot of trade talks this offseason about Byron Jones.
Imagine him with like an Antonio Brown type.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Another team that I could see Zeke possibly going to are the Colts. Colts have all this money to still spend. They just haven't spent it. They didn't spend it dumb. Like they didn't go out there and just throw money around. I was really expecting, obviously Kansas City to try to add one more player on that defense. They weren't able to. I thought they were going to make Byron Jones trade to get that extra DB. I thought a Jalen Ramsey trade may come involved because, like I said, they're still looking for that defensive piece.
Kind of like almost like the model of the Rams last year, where they're kind of signing all these guys that other people are like cast-offs or like other teams. The best thing you can do as a team, as far as team building, other than having like a quarterback you don't have to pay a lot that's good, is there's guys who are really good that leave other teams, and you're like, you have to think of why'd that guy leave that team.
Yeah.
It's like when
Marcus Peters left Kansas City.
Yeah, it's like when the Jags got Calais Campbell.
Yes.
It's like they got him how? Why?
Yeah.
Like a 6'10" monster.
It's like when they got rid of what's his name from that was their pass rusher. Oh God, the kid from Florida that they sent to LA last year. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he went
from the Jags to
he went to the Jags to the Rams. It was late season trade. You know, it was at the deadline. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
D-tackle, right?
It was the end. Yeah, it was a pass rusher. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's killing me right now. But he's from UF. He was supposed to be a lot better player. Dante Fowler.
Dante Fowler. Yeah. He had injury issues.
Yes.
But it's like things like that where you get guys and it's like, why is this guy available? And it's just like either they didn't want to pay them, or it was a weird fit, or whatever. It's like teams that are awesome get guys like that, and it's like, why was this guy available? Oh, for some random reason.
And those teams also don't stick around long either. That's kind of my thing on the Rams. That you may have added this town.
Do it while you have the cheap quarterback.
But exactly, they don't have the trend of sticking around as a consistent team. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of my big take on the Rams. There, it's like they added and they pushed for that year. Is it going to reciprocate?
Everybody's window is like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, there's no long.
It's you either have like, and the Cowboys are dealing with it now. It's like you either have right now the Chiefs, where you have a cheap quarterback who's awesome. You put everyone around him. The Seahawks had this with Russell Wilson, and then you have to deal with or we're transitioning as the Cowboys. We got to pay all these guys.
Yeah.
And we can't have as much around him.
That's the problem of having multiple good draft classes in a row that I tell people. I'm like,
that's the
problem. Like, it sounds crazy.
You have to wind up paying your guys.
Because you look at it, like Jalen Smith, Ezekiel Elliott.
The Vikings are like this.
Yes, Ezekiel Elliott and Jalen Smith and Dak Prescott were all in the same draft class. First round, second round, fourth round.
The Vikings didn't think that Anthony Barr was going to re-sign. They have a really smart front office, but they didn't think that Anthony Barr was going to re-sign. They didn't factor that into their cap, and now you have and they're glad that he did because he's awesome. But they drafted him. When you draft these guys and they wind up working out, eventually you have to sign these guys. So the Vikings are pretty much all in this year. They're not in the NFC or AFC.
But no, it's a team.
The Vikings are all in this year with Kirk Cousins, who they're paying a shit ton to, Anthony Barr. They have Thielen and Diggs. They have all these guys, and teams are either have the cheap quarterbacks or they have like the expensive quarterback, and the windows are so small in the NFL.
Yeah, no, and that's when you look at.
Unless you're the Patriots.
Well, it's because the Patriots maybe the only and you know that's kind of the same thing with the Steelers too. It's like the Steelers have kept a large window for a while now. They've kept it going. Those two teams are the only teams that are consistently every year in the conversation of doing so. What are we doing?
I said cut Dak. He texted me earlier in the group chat, and I was like, I thought he was kidding, but I don't know if he's kidding really.
Oh, man, well, why? I mean, Miami probably – he's honestly better than every Miami quarterback right now, I'm guessing.
Well, Tannehill might wind up starting over Mariota.
I mean, but that's not saying much. Mariota may arguably be one of the worst starting quarterbacks in football. Like, he's in that list of bottom 5 starting quarterbacks. I think Tannehill is better than Mariota. Like, I just think it's like –
the fact that it's even close is not good.
No, it's not, and that's the thing. I do –
That's a team that might be in the running for drafting a quarterback.
No, but
which sucks because they've spent a first-round pick on Mariota. And that when that class came out with Mariota and Winston, we're like, one of these guys is going to be a Hall of Famer, right?
No, yeah, neither panned out at all.
Both those guys were awesome in college.
They really were, though.
Huh?
They really were. It's both won a Heisman.
Didn't they play against each other?
Yes. Mariota killed them.
Yeah.
I mean, Jameis Winston, that may have been.
I had more faith.
That's the only loss I think Jameis Winston actually had over there.
I still think Jameis can be awesome. I just think he's never going to be the guy who doesn't throw the picks.
And if he's not with,
Mariota has the frame that's small. He always gets hurt. But Jameis, there's no reason Jameis shouldn't be awesome.
Yeah,
well, there was a thing this week that Dak turned down like $30 million.
Thank you for reminding me that he's not worth $35 to $40 million. Like, I haven't watched every Cowboys game.
But at the same time,
the eye test tells you that.
But at the same time, it's the Matthew Stafford thing that I'm dealing with. It's like, okay, he's not worth that, but what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, like you're gonna cut him. Like I personally think we should have pushed for a trade. But the problem with him is you can't.
I'll ask him. Are you just trolling? Or are you kidding? Or are you serious, Chase? When you say cut him?
No, I mean he said
that he said that I'm in a text chain with him, and he said that earlier. I thought he was kidding.
So what are you gonna do if you cut him? Just give up on the year?
Well, no, not you wouldn't cut him this year. They're saying like, I mean, he's not even up for.
He's up for a contract.
This year,
yeah, he's up for a contract
yeah.
after this year. So what you can do? Cut him and just say bye, and then like watch him go to where?
Yeah, watch him, and then Brady retires, and he goes to New England. And wins 7 Super Bowls.
I mean, do I think we? The problem is, I'm not. I mean, I've already been on the show talking about it. I know we're off topic with divisions. Clearly, I'm not a Dak Prescott fan. I'm just not. I watch him struggle throwing intermediate routes.
But at the same time, what else are you gonna do?
I mean, to be honest with you, I really wish we could push for a trade, and I do think that
Tannehill?
No, dude. Why would you trade for? No one trades for Tannehill.
The Titans did.
Did they, or did they just sign him? I know they just signed him. They didn't trade for him.
Was it a cut or was it a trade?
They may have traded him for like a 7th round pick or something stupid, like that kind of half-ass trade.
Speaking of trades, and also getting off the divisions, and we're never on topic anyway, so who cares?
I agree with that. Trade him, don't pay. I completely agree with the trade him, don't pay.
The Duke Johnson thing. How the fuck does Duke Johnson get traded for a 3rd round pick?
How's he still going to play in that game too? When he got traded, he was playing in that Cleveland Browns game.
Oh, I'm just saying like. And this is gonna sound crazy, but it's true. I looked it up. The Duke Johnson trade, that's the highest compensation a team has gotten for a running back since Trent Richardson.
I remember that Trent Richardson trade. I thought that was gonna be a great move. Duke Johnson, man, I thought that was gonna be a great move when that happened,
I thought was it the Colts who got him?
Yeah,
I was like, the Colts stole him.
I was like, I thought it was gonna be a great move. You have Andrew Luck. You have, dude, I thought it was gonna be a great fit. Did not work at all.
I think we all did.
Well, the guy's Ray Charles looking for a hole. Like, it's horrendous. Dude, watch him look for a hole.
He's hanging out with Jamarcus Russell too much, I guess, or something. Dude. Like, he's fucking 300 pounds.
But no, with the whole trade him, don't pay, and I agree why you trade him, because the thing is, he's going to probably win 9 or 10 games this year, realistically, Dak.
Which is going to make it so you can't draft a quarterback.
No, but my thing is, I do believe he's still tradable because he's got enough of a resume to be like, other teams are going, you can't shake your head on that.
But you would have to trade him this year.
No, you would have to do like the Kirk Cousins thing where you tag him and then trade him.
Next year? So tag him and then trade him?
Well, it's how the way.
Who's going to trade for? Who's going to trade for?
Marty. Come on now. The guy's won like literally the 3rd most games since he's been in the NFL.
Who would trade for him?
Cincinnati.
We just talked about Cincinnati.
You don't think Cincinnati would trade for him? You don't think someone
they have a poor man's Dak already. They're happy with him.
No, Dak is better than Andy Dalton. That's that, and I'm not even a Dak fan, and that's loud and clear. Andy Dalton's not even top half of the league.
It's Stretch. Is it pretty close?
No.
Andy Dalton is a poor man's Dak.
He's a broke man's Dak.
Yeah, like
he's a homeless man's Dak.
It's coming from a guy wearing a Giant shirt, for God's sake.
He's a heroin addict's Dak.
Yes.
Heroin addict's Dak. I think Dak's gonna be move
so
him.
What would you trade for him?
Honestly, draft picks.
What pick?
Well, it depends on, like, obviously you can see a guy with him top 10
You wouldn't
pick.
trade a first because you could just draft a quarterback in the first.
No, because there's not a quarterback already established. If Dak has another solid season to where it's like a 10-11 win season, but we don't think he is the guy, and there's a top 10 pick, yeah, it's tradable. It's movable. It's just, it depends on the team, and it depends on the situation of the players too. I'm like, does Miami feel like they need a quarterback? Does Miami trust that they're going to get a quarterback?
They just traded for Josh Rosen.
Yeah, but they traded nothing for Rosen on purpose, though. I mean, Rosen's contract's so controllable. And stop believing in Rosen. Now, you're talking about Dak.
I didn't say I believe in Rosen. I'm just saying they just traded for a quarterback.
When I'm talking about trading for a quarterback, don't like.
We are talking about trading for a quarterback.
Yeah, but don't act like Rosen's going to stop Miami going after any other quarterback. Because I just watched Rosen and it was horrendous.
How many resources can you put into the quarterback position? They signed Fitzpatrick and they just traded for Josh Rosen.
They signed him for 1 year, and Rosen's contract is like literally, I think $3 million for the next 4 years.
He's still on his rookie contract.
Yeah, he's a very controlled, and that's why they did, because all of his guaranteed money already kicked in with Arizona.
Yeah. It was a fine trade.
It worked out for them. I just don't think they actually believe in him. Like, I don't really look at Josh Rosen. We were talking about this before. I don't look at Josh Rosen and think he's going to lead an NFL franchise.
But he only had one season behind the most shitty offensive line. Like, you can't judge.
It's not getting any better.
But you can't judge Josh Rosen just off of last year.
Okay, I'm telling you, this offensive line is not getting any better for him.
I'm telling you, they're not going to trade for Josh Rosen off of his rookie season, and then whatever he does this year, they also have a shitty team. They're not going to also trade for Dak Prescott. I'm just asking who's going to.
I'm just saying teams out loud that will need quarterbacks. There's not many teams that need the quarterbacks.
So what would they trade for him, though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We need to go to a
third-round pick? I'd rather have a third-round quarterback.
It would not be a third-round pick. Come on now.
A second-round pick?
It would be before, if he has another solid season.
A first-round pick?
Yes, if he has another solid season.
I'd rather just draft a quarterback in the first round then.
It depends on the team.
That you don't have to pay $30 million to.
Depends on the team.
Okay, so theoretically, whoever you trade for Dak Prescott, whatever team trades for him,
We're
is
not
gonna
trading Dak Prescott is the number one
No,
thing.
we're just saying. We're just talking.
Like, that's
hypothetically.
impossible. It's just like it's not happening.
But if he did, we're just talking hypothetically. If he did get traded, whatever team trades for him is gonna have to pay him.
Yes.
But I mean, who?
There are teams out there that do like him. That was my whole point.
It would be like a Kirk Cousins type thing, or like an Alex Smith type thing, where a team like a team like the Vikings or a team that thinks they're already going to win a Super Bowl just needs that kind of
Like, there are
quarterback.
teams right now that are kind of not believing in their quarterbacks they already paid, too. Like, there are teams like Tampa. What if Tampa wants another quarterback?
They're not a quarterback away though. They're like
They're
an
more than
entire
that,
team
and I completely understand that. But the whole thing is, there are teams that, when you look at the position that you need most, quarterback immediately checks you have to have a quarterback to win. It's very few teams have not had a quarterback to win. You know, the Trent Dilfers, the Brad Johnsons, the very few. The Peyton Manning in Denver.
Anyone who says that, it's always an outlier.
Yeah,
it's not the rule, it's the exception.
Yes,
You want to try
exactly.
you want to try to win with a shitty quarterback and a great defense. Good luck.
Yeah,
that's not how it works.
It's very rare does it work that way.
We're in the age of Patrick Mahomes.
But we're talking about quarterbacks like, let's look at Matt Ryan, let's look at Cam Newton, let's look at guys like that who
I'd rather have both of those guys than Dak.
Yeah, I understand you say that, but Cam Newton's also not any, like, for sure that he's good. Like, he's had 2 rotator surgeries in 3 years. His throwing mechanics have changed
That's
again.
a good one. If Big Ben is getting out of there soon, he'd be.
And you know, I think that's a possibility. But Big Ben's in there for another 2 years.
Let's clap it up. A rare good contribution from Chase. That's good.
Well, it's like I like that one. The problem is I hate that contract situation because you literally have to pay. Okay, you're gonna pay Dak $35 million for the next 5 years, and you still have 1 more year left on Big Ben's $35 million extension per year. You know what I mean?
Well, you could cut Ben.
Do you really think they do that? Because they got rid of everyone else.
I don't think any of this stuff's going to happen,
No.
but it doesn't happen until it actually happens.
A team that we can stay within the division, maybe the Chargers.
No, Phillip Rivers is going to play for a little while longer. You want to get into this. We've only talked about Kansas City so far for AFC West, but you were saying, I think, before the podcast that you think that Phillip Rivers is overrated.
Oh, God,
Make your case.
It's garbage time. He's Mr. Okay, here's my case. We all watch the.
He's always down 8 with a minute left.
We always because he just got back from being down 15. So we're gonna watch the Patriots playoff game again. What's his at halftime? Yeah. At halftime, he looked horrendous.
They played the Chargers?
He did.
I don't remember that.
I know because I was pretty quick to forget considering how bad
Football
Phillip Rivers
season,
played.
am I right?
When we watched what Phillip was doing.
Oh, I do remember that. They were
Yes.
down like 30-0, right?
Yes, it's typical. And Phillip Rivers at halftime.
I forgot about that.
It's like
We can't
140
count that in
yards.
this argument,
What are you
though.
talking about? It's a playoff game.
I forgot
You have
about
to
that.
count that.
Well,
And
it goes against my argument, so I don't want to count it.
And I'm still going in more because this helps my argument. Because when you look
That's
at
why
it,
I don't want to count it.
he has 140 yards and like 2 interceptions at halftime, right? He finishes the game with 350 yards, 2 touchdowns,
but at
and
the
3
same
picks.
time, once you're down, you're down. Like once you're,
I get
that was not his
but that's
best.
his career.
That was not his best game, not his best look or anything. But in his career, Phillip Rivers is a good quarterback.
In his career, he doesn't make the playoffs a lot.
But he always has shitty teams.
Not always.
His defense is always shit.
And there are plenty of guys that don't have great teams that at least make the playoffs, though. And it's not like the AFC West. I mean, yeah, you had Payton in there for 4 years, looking fantastic. But even Payton's last year there with Brock helping out, they looked all right. Even though they won the Super Bowl, they looked all right. You know, the Raiders haven't been a threat for years. The Chiefs just became a threat. You know, I mean, the Chiefs were known for going to the playoffs and losing the first round right away. They weren't known for being like this outlying great teams. They would win the first 8 games and lose the next 8 years.
But it's the Aaron Rodgers thing, as far as my argument goes. It's just like just watching him play. He's a good quarterback.
No, because like watching Aaron,
You can hold his results against him, and I can't win that argument.
it's just he's a garbage time quarterback to me. And also, he doesn't beat other big quarterbacks in the playoffs, and he's never beaten Tom Brady ever in a game. Like, ever.
Yeah, but not a lot of people have.
People have. My whole thing is he's never in a playoff game.
Not beating
regular
Tom Brady
season.
doesn't mean you're not a good quarterback.
No, but it doesn't mean, okay, he doesn't beat
That
Tom.
doesn't mean that Peyton Manning's not a good quarterback.
But at least Peyton has beaten him. I'm talking about his record against Ben, his record against Angel Luck, his record against Peyton, his record against Tom. He's not a winning. He doesn't beat winning teams. It's like Matthew Stafford. You look at Matthew Stafford, he puts up the numbers, right? He's going to throw.
I hate Matthew Stafford, so you're not going to win that argument.
He's going to throw over 50,000 yards in his career. Very respectful as an NFL quarterback. But you know what? He also is like 8-58 against teams over 500. Phillip Rivers is not great against teams over 500, and that's a problem to me too.
You're making a lot of good points, but my whole thing is just watching him play that I think he's a good quarterback.
And here's the thing.
You're not saying he's a bad quarterback.
Yeah,
you're
I just think
he's a little bit.
I don't
overrated.
think he's an immediate Hall of Famer like people are trying to put him out to be.
But he is a Hall. You didn't say it. You said he's not immediate, but you think he's a Hall of Famer.
I think he's in the Hall of Fame because he has the numbers, but I also think the numbers are kind of misconstrued. Like, yeah, when you're down, your number's going to be up as a quarterback because you're throwing a lot. You know, it's like when you can't run the ball in the third quarter,
but you don't make
down
the Hall of
31
Fame.
to 14.
But you don't make the Hall of Fame by accident. Like,
no, you don't. But it's also going to just be like, okay,
unless you're like Joe Namath.
What's his? Yeah. What's Terry Bradshaw? What's your resume?
Trent
Truly?
Dilfer in the Hall of Fame?
No, he's not. He's in the ESPN Hall of Fame where he kills everyone. Tim Hasselbeck, and like for some reason those two guys feel like they can kill every quarterback that's a rookie. Every rookie quarterback's better than both of them.
How does Matt Millen still have a job?
Upsets me.
Ask you that as a Lions
But when you
fan.
look at the resume for Phillip, what's the big wins Phillip's had? Because yeah, he did play in that AFC Championship game.
Anytime you pull up resume or all this kind of stuff, I'm only going by watching him play.
And Washington plays a whole nother story versus like.
But it's the Aaron Rodgers thing. It's like I think Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback of all time.
Yeah, but Aaron has a resume to back you on that.
He has a Super Bowl, but just because he has one Super Bowl, I put him ahead of
MVP.
Joe Montana and ahead of these guys. Like
He leads the league in quarterback
Phillip
rating.
Rivers easily could have won some MVPs if Peyton Manning wasn't in the league.
Yeah, but there's also other factors.
It's not like he's losing to like bad guys.
It's like Big Ben has been able to win. Andrew Luck has been to an AFC Championship more recently than he has. Andrew Luck has been just.
What is Phillip Rivers' best receiver that he's ever had?
It's going to be Keenan Allen. It's going to be Keenan, but he also had LaDainian Tomlinson at a part in his career, and LaDainian Tomlinson was getting got 31 touchdowns in a season with him. He had Sean Merriman, he had Antonio Cromartie on that defense. I mean,
Sean Merriman.
And Sean Merriman was Defensive Player of the Year for them. He was
You're bringing me back.
I know the lights out.
Oh man.
Oh man, I
the
love
visor with LT.
Oh man, yes.
Man. Better visor, LT or Ronnie Brown?
Oh, LT.
You think so?
But I think Ed Reed saw the better one.
Oh man, Ed Reed.
When Ed Reed would come out, see that's what Brian Dawkins. That's
Oh,
the guy
Brian Dawkins, you're bringing me back.
That's the guy I did not want to see coming at me in the visor.
Oh
he
man.
Just,
Brian Dawkins.
That's my thing with Rivers. What you're saying, because when he's fun, yeah, you can watch him. But it's also when you watch Aaron Rodgers, at least you have there's a strong backing. Like he only threw 2 picks this year. And everyone says Rodgers had a down year. Yeah, did he throw the ball?
He was hurt, yeah.
Did he throw the ball off the ground? Did he throw the ball away? Yeah, he did that a lot. But he also was 25 touchdowns, 2 picks. You can't complain about a split like that ever. But with Rivers, it's not that I hate him. It's just I don't like this year was the first year everyone kind of talked about him being a Hall of Famer, but progressively talked about it. And I just thought to myself, but why? What is making him a Hall of Famer? Because we kill quarterbacks who don't win big, especially the quarterback position. If you don't win big games, you get killed for it. You don't get the high regards as a quarterback. I mean, as a Tony Romo fan, I can personally tell you that. But when you look at
so who's better, Tony Romo or Phillip Rivers?
Tony Romo.
Easily?
Yeah, dude. To be honest with you, and
Stretch?
but the only reason why I'm saying this is just because the players Tony made better.
It's close, right?
And Tony also wasn't winning 4 games in a season. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because Tony made receivers better. Phillip's not making receivers better.
He made receivers better. Who did he make better?
Laurent Robinson, Des Bryant.
Laurent Robinson?
He got a contract because of him. He had 11 touchdowns in a season because of him. Jacksonville paid him out. Sam Hurd got paid by Chicago. Patrick Creighton, Terry Glenn. I mean, we can go on the. I mean, he's got
all those guys suck.
They all got paid contracts. You can say they suck, but they all got paid contracts.
Okay, but I mean,
who is Phillip Rivers gotten paid?
I mean, I don't know the Cowboys roster like I know, like you do, like how I know the Chargers roster, but I mean, I don't think Mike Williams is awesome.
Mike Williams has been Mike Williams is always, he's not even he's a downfield threat guy. That's all he is. But then we're looking at Keenan Allen.
But you're talking about all these random guys from the Cowboys
who
that
all got
Tony
paid
Romo
though
made better.
from other teams. I'm just saying, who paid Charger receivers after they left?
I would have to look
Who
it up.
paid receiver?
If I knew that off the top of my head, I'd be sick.
I mean, for God's sakes, the guy throws 100. I mean, Keenan Allen had 160 targets this year. I mean, of course, yeah, you throw a ball 160 times at one guy. And also,
I don't think it's that clear cut that Romo is. I think they're actually pretty similar. They're pretty comparable.
I would just who I'm picking just because when you look at the teams that Phillips had versus that Tony's had, Tony had one good running back.
Who's a better holder?
Oh man, that's upsetting. Well, you know what? Just remember this. Tony wasn't winning 4 games in a season like Phillip has. Phillip's been on a starting quarterback for 4-win teams.
I'm not going to win when it comes to the numbers. I'm just going off of like watching him play. I think he's a really good quarterback.
I think this year was his year that really, like, don't get me wrong, like, I don't think he was Hall of Fame, but he awoke people this year with what he can still do.
Would you rather have Dak or Phillip Rivers?
Phillip Rivers. Yeah, Phillip Rivers. But that's not fair. You know him, like, I'm not a Dak guy.
I'm just comparing guys, Stafford or Rivers.
I would definitely still. No, here's my thing about Stafford that I really hated this year. Like, this was a down year for him. Like, years before, he looked
Cam
better.
Newton or Rivers?
Rivers.
So I mean, you're not saying he's not good. You're just saying that
I'm just
people
saying,
are overrating him.
Yeah, I think that people just like the way that people rated him this year. Like, this was the first year.
Michael Turner. People called Michael Turner Michael the Burner Turner. He wasn't even fast.
Yeah, Michael Turner, stop. Vincent Jackson's a better one. Michael Turner wasn't even freaking receiver.
Well, Vincent Jackson is just pretty much Keenan Allen, right?
No, I mean, Vincent Jackson was a red zone threat.
Yeah, so is Keenan Allen. They're the same guy.
And it was, the Michael Turner.
I think they both didn't have hair too, right?
I mean, it's just, dude. Darren Sproles wasn't a receiver, dude.
Is Darren Sproles still in the league?
Two of the three guys. Come on, Stretch.
How did Darren Sproles?
Come on.
Caught the ball.
Yeah, but they're not receivers.
No,
like one's a receiver.
One of them are.
That Chargers offense, they were all receivers.
How was Darren Sproles never on the
one-
Patriots?
Because if he was like a little white guy.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I think the Patriots might. This is a hot take. They might trade Tom Brady for Christian McCaffrey.
No, because they actually fun fact about that San Francisco is
Bill Belichick's going to trade himself for Christian McCaffrey.
Bill Belichick declined to trade. Bill Belichick was going to push for Tom Brady to be traded instead of Jimmy Garoppolo last year. Yeah, when the
How do you know that?
that was a story that came out last year. That's what caused the big divide. The 49ers wanted Tom Brady. San Francisco guy, they're trying to bring him over.
Everybody would
Yeah,
want
but
Tom
they
Brady.
actually had more of a they had more leverage than anybody. The number 2 pick.
It was
plus
the thing
draft
that
picks
might have
under-
happened?
Yeah, it was actually but Robert Kraft came down to who did they want to move, and Belichick wanted Brady
Gates is
moved
a Hall
over
of
Jimmy
Famer.
G. Yeah, Antonio Gates is all of Famer.
That's a similar thing with Rivers and Romo.
Yeah, they had
Antonio
time-
Gates
yeah.
and
I'll agree with that
whatever Witten.
I think Gates is better than Witten, just
Yeah.
because he's more athletic.
Also a good advisor.
Yeah. Well, see, I feel like if you played in San Diego, you just had to have a visor.
Yeah.
Just, you get that, at 1 o'clock sun coming in.
How the fuck does Oakland still have an infield on their football field?
Because
This is a $1 billion
they put
league.
about as many points as the,
This is
as the athletics do.
This is a $1 billion league, and they're playing on a baseball field.
That would piss me off. That would alone would make me want to get out of Oakland.
Yeah, Antonio Brown is arguing over his helmet, and we're still playing on baseball fields.
Easily.
So we haven't talked at all. I mean, we kind of talked about the Chargers, just mostly Phillip Rivers.
That holdout with Melvin.
Yeah. So the Melvin Gordon thing that we should talk about. I think he's definitely going to play, but the thing between him and Zeke wants to stay with the Cowboys. He just wants a deal. Melvin Gordon said he wants a trade.
My thing with the difference with those two is Zeke's not competing for the top pay. I think he's competing with Dak Prescott and why Dak's getting the top pay. You know what I mean? Like,
Did I say this on the podcast? I know I said it before, and I understand how before anyone comments, I know how the CBA works in both sports. But pretty much somebody said on Twitter, Melvin Gordon is holding out for the money that Harrison Barnes pays in taxes.
Yeah.
I know how the things work. It's just funny to think about.
It is when you
That
really look
Harrison
at it.
Barnes pays in taxes what one of the best running backs is holding out to get his
And
money.
Melvin Gordon really wants to get paid like that. My thing with the Chargers is you're now putting yourself in a situation, okay? And if you're not going to pay him, then move him. Because the longer you wait, the more the price drops.
But then everyone's gonna start doing that though. Like, oh, if you don't pay him, then move him. Like,
Because I'm just saying for the fact of you can get more out of you move him now versus you move him this time next year. Le'Veon Bell could have been moved and they could have gotten some back for it. They never did.
I'm in the camp of don't pay running backs. I mean, as somebody who doesn't have one, it's easy to say. Chase said, we'll do this next week. I think next week, if you guys are going to watch, it's going to be like an entire fantasy show. I was kind of thinking about it because I tried to go down to 2 leagues from 3, and I went up to 4 somehow.
Yeah.
It
always happens that way.
I think I'm getting a little bit full of myself because I'm like, I don't want to tell all my secrets and people who I like on the fantasy show next week, and I haven't done any drafts yet. But I'm like, fuck it, whatever. We'll just do it anyways.
I might lie on a few of mine. So. to be honest.
Yeah, I think I would probably take
The
like
guys I really like, I'm going to keep quiet to
Ben
myself.
Roethlisberger, #1 overall. Yeah. But Chase said, when should somebody draft Zeke in fantasy? I mean, if it was no holdout, if there was nothing going on with the holdout, and he's just regular season, he's 1 or 2.
I think, yeah, I think if you still have the #1 pick, you go with him just for usage. I understand people are talking about this holdout, but
We'll get into it next week. But if you had the #1 pick and forget the holdouts and everything, who would you take #1 overall?
Zeke. The only reason why I've literally picked Zeke first round every year since he's been in, even with the suspension that loomed.
Yeah, but he went to Ohio State though.
I know how you feel. It's like I won't pick Saquon because in fantasy, well, you guys don't learn this.
I usually pick like Chad Henne or like Jordan
Mike
Lewis.
Hart.
Mike Hart, 99 carry rating.
And
Never
in
fumbled.
fantasy, I won't pick anyone that plays for the Eagles, Redskins, or Giants.
That to me is
I
dumb.
won't.
Like I was
won't.
kidding with the Zeke thing, but that to me is dumb. Like I'm not gonna not.
I do just fine without him.
I'm not gonna not
Like-
pick. Okay, so you said you won't pick any Eagles, Redskins,
or Giants. No, dude, I'm a fan before I'm fantasy, dude.
So
to
if
be
you had
honest.
the second pick, or if you had
I never picked Odell Beckham.
If you had the 5th pick and Saquon Barkley's there,
No.
you're not gonna take him?
No, I'll take him for trade. I won't use him all year, but I'll take him to trade.
If you had the 5th pick,
Yeah, I swear to
you're
God.
bullshitting.
No, I
You'll
swear
take
to God.
Saquon 5th.
I swear to God, I will not take him to keep, but I will take him to trade. I do not play guys that are division rivals. I won't do that.
But it's fantasy. It's for bet. It's for money.
I get that, but I'm more of a because I always want to
No,
see
I
those
get it.
I always
hate
want to see
Ohio
them be
State
bad.
too, yeah.
I just always want to see them do bad. Like I never want to see anyone from any of those 3 teams do well. I never do. Like I always want them to have their worst game possible
Yeah.
every week they play, so
No,
I can't root
get
for
it.
them. You see what I'm saying?
You're not
Like,
the first person I've heard say that,
And
and only for that division too. I've heard people say it. I
Okay.
have a friend, JJ. He does not draft any.
Yes.
He doesn't draft any Giants, any Eagles, any Redskins.
It has worked out
But
for me. though.
it's easy.
I will say that.
It is easy though when it's just like middle rounds. But if you had like the 6th overall pick and Saquon's still there,
I'm drafting, but because here's the thing. I
Yeah,
did this last
it
year.
is.
I almost did this last year. I'm going to draft him. I'm going to trade him right away is my thing. Like I'm just immediately like I tried that with Odell Beckham. Like someone said, if Rob drafts Odell Beckham, he's not going to play him. He's just going to trade him. He's going to try to get another running back. And that's exactly because when I play fantasy, I load up on running backs. I try to get 3 running backs who catch, at least get 10 targets a game. And the McCaffrey, I think McCaffrey may arguably be a #1 pick this year. And
But the thing to me in fantasy is like, you can draft somebody, and I understand the hatred and the rivalry, but you could draft somebody from the Giants. It doesn't matter. They're going to suck anyways. You could draft someone from the Redskins. They're going to suck anyways. The Eagles, I mean...
they don't have fantasy football players.
Yeah.
They have a team. They're a good football
so it's
team.
just as someone does
It
good from
works
that
for
team.
my division. For me to not do that. It's not like, like I
To me,
have
it's like when Patriots fans draft like Tom Brady in like the 5th round. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
I had a buddy who thought it was the craziest thing I said. And he was a Dolphins fan because like every year he would get Gronk in the 2nd round. It's like, oh, I'm still getting Gronk. I don't care. Like I said, it's just a personal thing with me. I never want to see anyone in Philadelphia, New York Giants, or Washington Redskins do well on a football field.
As an Ohio State hater, I
See, if college football had fantasy football, would you draft anyone from Ohio State?
No.
See? Would you draft anyone from Michigan State?
No.
It's kind of like on that, It's like I can't bring myself to do it.
I get it.
But by all means, do I know I'm missing out on Saquon? Yeah, I know I'm missing out on Saquon.
It's just different for me because as a Lions fan, I've never had like any passion for the NFL. Like I've never had a good team or anything like that. So it's like when I watch the NBA and everyone's like, "Oh, the Warriors are ruining the league." I'm like, I just want to see good teams play basketball. And my team, if I was like a Houston fan, I'd be like, "Oh, this is bullshit." My team has no chance anyways.
Yeah.
But when fucking Justin Fields transfers to Ohio State, I'm like, hey,
gets immediate play time.
can we kind of get some of these transfer rules in order? Or
What is this, college free agency or something?
oh yeah,
Like,
this
what's
is
going on?
good.
It's America.
This is America. Yeah.
But I really
like
think
spaghetti and meatballs. You can get out.
this AFC West, though, man. I mean, I think it's kind of come to just a 2-team race. I hate like just skimming over Oakland and
Yeah, we've talked nothing about Oakland or Denver.
and it's just only because like Denver.
Flacco sucks, right? That's
Well,
all
the
we
only
need to
bright
say.
side I have about Denver is I love Von Miller. I'm a big Von Miller fan. I do want to see Cortland Sutton, fantasy football talk, like a little early bit. Cortland Sutton, I think, can get very good.
This is a sleeper.
I like him on there. But like Denver's just like you don't look at them to like win more than 6 games.
Why would you trade for Joe Flacco?
No, my problem with the trade for Joe Flacco is
That it was for Joe Flacco.
there are some quarterbacks that do not want to play if they don't have like that immediate, oh, I know I'm going to play every single week. I don't have to worry about my job. Once they got Flacco, they drafted a quarterback in the 2nd round. Flacco like just knowingly doesn't like stuff like that. And to get Flacco, I think you almost have to like just guarantee like, hey, no one's going to compete with you because you don't like competition.
If a team was happy to get out from under your contract because you had like one random good playoff run, I know they won the Super Bowl.
Arguably one of the greatest playoff runs too.
Arguably the worst thing to ever happen to the Ravens.
That could be
that contract.
Like if that happens to the Cowboys, like I'll be like, yeah, we did well, but great.
I would rather have Ray Lewis as my quarterback this year than Joe Flacco.
Supposedly Joe Flacco used to laugh at Ray Lewis's halftime speeches.
Everybody did, yeah. It's
but like supposedly like he did not find them helpful at all, and he just thought they were funny.
I get it. I mean, I understand. Like for us, like we see the highlights and it's inspirational, but if you're in there every day, it's like, we're about to eat lunch, dog. This is the best lunch you ever about to eat. It's like, all right, Ray, we get it. Can we just have a fucking turkey sandwich and get it over with? I get it if it's every day.
Ray's coaching you through sex.
Like the Ed. He's doing the slide both ways. And he puts the gun on. Oh, man. No, I get it. I mean, for us, it's like the Ed Reed thing. I'm hurt, dog. I'm hurt.
Don't ask me if I'm all right.
I'm hurt.
And then the Raiders, like I hate just skimming over them because Rob's a good buddy of mine, but like he
Rob who?
Lurie, like he, it's with the Raiders, and I'm excited to see them when they get in Vegas. I think that everybody in Oakland, everyone that wants to watch the Raiders, we just want to see them get in Vegas as soon as possible because the show is going to be great.
I think they suck.
They're not a good team right now, but I do want to see Celine Farrell. I do want to see what Celine Farrell goes on to, like because if Celine Farrell.
Clelin Farrell?
No, that's the first-round pick for them.
Clelin Farrell.
They said Colin Farrell.
What'd you call him?
Celine, wow.
No,
wow.
Clelin Farrell.
Wow, I thought you said Colin Farrell. I was like, wow. What,
you said
Colin
Celine Farrell.
Yeah, I said Celine.
Like,
I was like, wow. No, I thought you said Colin Farrell. I was like, who, Colin Farrell?
Yeah, they drafted the third best guy from that defensive line.
But he, a lot of people talk about I thought they should have gone Josh Allen. I was a big Josh Allen. I thought, obviously, Ed Oliver was the guy to really go with on that one.
Don't even get me started.
I love Ed Oliver.
I fucking hate everything.
But I think Farrell as a whole, I mean, they
could have had Devin Bush,
Farrell.
we could have had Ed Oliver, we could have had Rashawn Gary. I mean, instead, TJ fucking Hawkinson.
That's another team, though. What if Oakland's tired? Do you see Oakland
You
moving
talk about
car?
you won't draft a Redskin or an Eagle or a Giant. I'll never draft a Lions tight end. TJ Hawkinson.
Oh, man.
Piece of shit.
I will draft Kenny Galladay.
What were you saying before that? Sorry, I blacked out.
I know, you're really angry about that draft still, dude.
Ever since I've known Stretch, it's a tight end thing. It's so stupid.
It would frustrate me.
What were you saying before that?
But no, they added a lot of young talent with Abrams, with the kid from Alabama who's going to be running the ball.
Josh Jacobs.
Yes, Jacobs,
Yeah.
which Jacobs could win Rookie of the Year this year.
Yeah.
Because he's going to get a lot of touches.
Yeah. Instead of wasting our time on Denver and Oakland, who suck, do you want to do?
I'm picking Kansas City to win division, the AFC West.
I'll take Kansas City too.
Yeah.
So we'll skip over. We already skipped over whatever the divisions we were gonna do for college football. College football, we'll say. Did I say on the podcast? This is the last weekend, the last Saturday and Sunday you will have with no football.
Mm-hmm.
After this, football.
The only bright side in that college group we're talking about is really Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Maybe Texas, but then even then, it's like.
Yeah, they fire the coach every year, anyways. So the Big 12 sucks, the Pac-12 sucks. Michigan's gonna win the chip. We got college covered. We're gonna skip over Oakland and Denver. You guys don't care about that. We have to be at least a little bit long right now. So we'll do the MVP picks. And I teased it on Facebook. I was like, watch us at 5 o'clock live. Watch us get everything wrong. Do you want to put like $5 on each of these? And if we disagree on any of them, if any of them are right.
$5 bet if we disagree?
If any of them are right, and we just.
Okay.
I'm sure we already have bets that I already forgot about.
Okay.
We had a bet last week I know I forgot about.
Go back to the replay.
Play the tape. Who are you going to pick for MVP?
MVP.
Zeke?
And running backs won't win it, man. No matter what
It's
happens.
just who's the best quarterback.
That's what it really comes down to.
Brady?
I think Watson can be in the talk.
I like that pick.
I like Mahomes. I like Luck. I mean, it's just that's a tough one to go with. I mean, you want to go Mahomes almost as a repeat, but that means Mahomes has to put up similar numbers. It's kind of the downside. Like, it has to be very similar to last year to win a repeat, and that's just a lot to ask from someone right away. I mean, he had arguably one of the greatest. Like,
who was second last year?
Andrew Luck, I believe, was.
Was Luck second last year? Rivers was up there, right?
Rivers was as well, yes.
Oh, overrated.
Okay. Well, like 2 years before, he led the league in picks.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. that is always.
Steve Martin, also a prop comic.
If I'm picking MVP this year, oh man. Let's go with.
It sucks. It sucks that it's like just best quarterback. I wish it was just like best player. Ew,
No, 'cause-
why the hell did he look like that?
He's not really an attractive looking dude.
He looks better than that.
Yeah, I mean that's a bad picture.
He looks paler than me.
Carson Wentz is also like a talk for MVP, just because he's already been in that talk before. If he stays healthy,
So who are you gonna pick?
I don't know, man. This is tough. I'm really thinking. I mean, like,
Any tips?
like I don't want to go Drew Brees on that one. Oh God, dude, this is tough.
Drew Brees would be a good pick just because like I don't think he's ever won it, and he would get like the sentimental.
Yeah. I just didn't pick them to win the division this year, though, is the thing. So it's hard to go out there and win MVP if you're not winning the division. You know, I'm going to Zeke Elliott.
Who'd you pick? You going Zeke?
I'm going Zeke.
He's not even gonna play.
He's going to play.
Yeah, he's gonna play.
He's going to play.
You going Zeke? When's the last time? Oh,
That's why I think if there's an, I just. Yeah, we'll go with the running back. What are the favorites this year? That's the question.
How about? I mean, I could look it up on my betting site, like who the favorites are. If you're gonna go a running back, though, wouldn't you go Saquon? They're just not gonna win enough. They're not gonna win enough
yeah,
games.
that's the problem. He's not gonna get like. You can't. It's like Adrian Peterson didn't win with 2,000 yards. I think it's so hard for a running back.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna go with a running back, there's no. They would have to do something insane.
Like extremely, yes. Dude, I'll be honest. I'm gonna pick on Mahomes again. It's so hard not to pick him, but I feel like he can repeat. I just feel like I think he's one of the most generational talents there are. If I'm to really truly pick somebody, I like Mahomes the most. He's probably the favorite as well.
All right, I have it here on my website. Mahomes is plus 500. He's the favorite. Who do you think is the second favorite?
Breeze.
Andrew Luck is 10-1, and Aaron Rodgers is 10-1. Drew Brees is 12-1.
Okay.
Brady's 20-1.
Where's Watson at on that?
Let me see.
Because Watson's got to prove himself on a contract here too. You know, those guys, the guys that are trying to prove that their contract's worth. Like, I don't think Dak will ever win MVP, like by any means. Like, I just don't see that ever happening. But I think Watson, who's trying to prove that he needs a contract still and he needs to get paid, he's gonna be in that conversation soon. I think he's gonna have a big season. I think Deshaun Watson should have a pretty big season.
Trying to find it. Mitch Trubisky is 25-1.
That's a big. That's shocking. Actually,
That's weird. Yeah.
Maybe they know something we don't about them.
Antonio Brown 125-1.
Damn, is Watson underneath those?
No, I'm trying to find. It's not in alphabetical order for some reason.
Let's just go down the line. Who are you picking?
I'm gonna go with Baker Mayfield.
Okay, no, I like that pick though. I do
Yeah.
like that pick, just because like there's a lot. Cleveland can get a lot of talk, and if they do win 10 games, they're gonna go right after Baker as like the focal point. So I actually love that pick that you went with there. It's better than my pick. It is, no, because my pick's just boring. No, my pick with Mahomes is boring. Like, yeah, Rob, good job. You kind of half-assed that pick, but like Baker Mayfield, I like that pick a lot.
Deshaun Watson. It wasn't on my site. I'm pulling it up right now. So yeah, I'm gonna take Baker. You're gonna take Patrick Mahomes. Who are you gonna take for Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the Year, Montgomery's a quiet one.
Montgomery.
Montgomery's a quiet one.
Who's that?
Running back. Kyler's like the favorite, I feel like.
Oh, Deshaun Watson. Down the list, however, this week's updated odds feature a number of notable movers. He was 60-1. Now he's 20-1. I don't know. Why would he be 60-1 to start?
Watson is 20-1.
He's 20-1. It said he started at 60-1.
To make it fun, I'll go. To make it fun, my quiet pick would be Deshaun Watson. But
no, he's not a rookie.
Well, no. I thought you were talking about just overall MVP. But no, like obviously I'm going Mahomes. So I think Watson's got a big team. David Montgomery from Chicago, I like.
I like Baker. I think Baker's got a good shot.
I think he's got.
If they win like 10 games, make the playoffs. If he's like awesome,
he's gonna get all like just because he's the quarterback.
Who's Montgomery? Who are you
David
talking
Montgomery from Chicago.
Was he a running back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just because Chicago, I mean, Matt Nagy does use the running. I mean, the running backs are used a lot over in Chicago, and I just think now with
someone's gonna have to take over the Jordan Howard carries.
They've been saying he's Matt Forte all over again. If he's Matt Forte without the injuries, then that's the best thing for them. Because Matt Forte, when he was healthy, was fantastic.
Montgomery, I gotta look that up.
Yeah, David Montgomery.
We're just doing offensive rookie, I guess. I'm gonna do Josh Jacobs.
Okay.
I think he's gonna be like the lead running back for. The only thing I'll be worried about is that the team's gonna suck. I think
With rookie year, that doesn't kill you too much, though. It just kind of kills it. You just want usage.
So we've been through all the divisions, right? We picked all the divisions. We're doing MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. Who do you think is going to be like the worst team in the league? Oh, we could do Super Bowl picks
Dolphins
too.
or Bengals. Dolphins or Bengals. I mean,
I think the Raiders have a chance to be the worst team in the
I
league.
think the Raiders have more of a bright side than any of those two teams, dude. Just because there's a lot of youth on the team.
I think whenever you have like a team that has like popular skill position players, but the offensive and defensive line sucks. Like, can you name any defensive lineman from the Raiders?
No, because I called him Selene.
Yeah, I think when you have teams that have popular position players, but their lines suck, that's like a recipe for a team that's gonna be overrated and it's gonna suck.
I do like that they have, what's his face, Incognito. I love. You know,
He's actually good.
No, Incognito is good. It's just the problem is
He made the Pro
he's not
Bowl
good.
every year he's played.
Like 3 of the last 4 years, yeah. Like,
But last year, people don't talk about that he was out of league because he was insane.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, Incognito is that true like football player. Like when they were talking about like Any Given Sunday, if they made a remake of it, it would be him.
He
He'd
was
be
the
in
guy
movie.
who threw the crocodile in the shower.
Like, he would be in the movie if they made a remake of it. Like, it's just someone like him needs to be in that movie.
All right, I think we're going long. So we did MVP, we did Rookie of the Year. Who's Defensive Player of the Year?
Defensive Player of the Year for football. Donald looks like it's going to be the guy. I am going to pick Von Miller just because I'm a huge Von Miller fan, but Aaron Donald should realistically win it. I like Von Miller a lot.
I will go with Aaron Donald. That's an easy pick. J.J. Watt, if he stays healthy, is always a good pick. But just on a ending note, how about what is your Super Bowl pick? Who are the teams? Who's going to win?
All right, Cowboys, Colts.
Cowboys, Colts. Man.
Cowboys, Colts.
What about the Patriots? No.
I like the Patriots, but I think the Patriots are gonna. You know what? It's hard to call like against the Chiefs. I mean, because I want the Patriots in. I feel like it's an easier one to say. I just feel like.
You picked the Cowboys to win the division.
Yeah, I did. And I think Cowboys will represent the NFC this year. That's my hope if all goes right. And that's not just me being a biased pick. I just feel like when you look at a formula, good defense, running game.
Of course, not biased at all. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not. I mean,
Michigan's
it's just.
doing the chip.
I think it's either Dallas or Philly that represents the NFC.
I'm gonna go with
Cowboys, Patriots.
I'm gonna go Chiefs, Vikings.
Okay, I like that one. Cowboys, Patriots. Cowboys by 6.
You're already picking the score.
Oh yeah. Cowboys, Patriots. Cowboys by 6. Yeah, that's right, Tom.
He's already picking the damn score.
Bro, between Robert Quinn, Jalen Smith, Leighton Van Der Esch, DeMarcus Lawrence.
Not only are the Cowboys gonna win the Super Bowl, but they're gonna be favored by 6.
Oh, we'll be underdogs. We'll be underdogs, but that's gonna be the joy of it.
You said Cowboys
we have
who?
the formula to beat them.
Let me write it down. Who'd you say? Cowboys who?
Cowboys, Patriots.
And you're gonna beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl with Dak Prescott?
NFC does it. NFC East can beat the Patriots. It's happened 3 times now.
If you played right now, you'd be like an 8-point underdog.
Okay, first of all, we may be,
Nah,
but their offensive line is going to have a lot of issues with our defensive line if we played
They
right
still have
now.
Tom Brady?
They have a Tom
still
Brady all
have
you
Bill
want.
Belichick?
But what's one thing Tom Brady hates? He hates getting hit.
Losing?
Hates getting hit.
Having an ugly wife?
When he gets hit, it's it for him. That's why when Miami beats him, it's because he gets hit a lot. It happens. Miami beats him once a year, Miami every year. Like,
That's
it
because they
happens.
play him so much. You're gonna win eventually.
Okay, no, because that does not work for the rest of the division. It's just a Miami thing for some reason.
I respect it. That's fine. You stick with your
Cowboys,
team.
Colts, Cowboys by 6.
Yeah.
No, Cowboys, Patriots, Cowboys
You
by
have to
6.
pick a score, man. I respect it. I'll do Chiefs, Vikings. Chiefs by 21.
It's so disrespectful.
I don't even know if the Vikings are gonna be in it. Who cares what they're gonna win?
You make a pick and then you're like, yeah, Chiefs by 21.
Chiefs by 60.
Chiefs by 64.
No, Chiefs are awesome. Thank you guys if you stuck with us. Next week, I think a lot of people, hopefully we get a lot of views next week. A lot of people give a shit about fantasy. We're going to do all
Live
of our
draft show?
I mean, we can figure it out throughout the week, whatever you want to do. I'm in 4 different leagues. I tried to go from 3 to 2. I went from 3 to 4. I'm in a 16-team league. I'm in 2 10s and a 12. I'm in keeper leagues, all that kind of shit. We can discuss PPR, but we'll do fantasy next week. The only league that I know I'm definitely not in is Bundesliga.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Bundesliga.
I love the Bundesliga.